All right, looks like we are live. Super excited to kick off another FOMO Friday. I'm here today with Bits of Wealth, Nat. Hopefully, William might be joining us later today as well. Lots of stuff happening in the market. We've caught some big runners on Robinhood chain, which is incredible. We've also caught some really awesome trades on BTC, so that's really awesome as well. So we'll look into the charts here shortly. Anything that we discuss here today is not financial advice. It's purely for educational purposes. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get things kicked off here. Bits, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Doing well. Was having fun with the crew on the Friday morning space. Wasn't a whole lot of
Yes.
market talk happening, but it was fun nonetheless. So sometimes you need that though, right? I
Yes.
think sometimes when you're with a group of people that have been getting together, day after day for years now,
Hmm.
sometimes you just want to kind of hang out a little bit. Um, yeah, have a moment of just talking life. So sometimes that stuff's good.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. No, that was incredible. Like I was thinking though, I went into Robinhood quite a bit, right? I've been exploring
Yes.
Robinhood chain a lot, finding a lot of good plays there. I come back and then Wolf Crew is all talking about relationships and dating
Ah,
and marriage. I'm like, what's going on today? where, where are the market reviews? But no, it was a pretty awesome discussion. So, it's good sometimes from time to time to kind of light things up a little bit, talk about
yeah.
other topics. It doesn't always have to be about the charts. I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Yeah, gotta live the life too. So,
Yeah, and it shows that that people. I actually think it's a good like growth and marketing strategy as well, because
hmm
as you're building communities, sorry, as you're building communities, you want you want people to know that you're relatable, that you are just
hmm
a person. You're dealing with similar stuff that other people are dealing with. You have maybe similar views to what people hold, or that they know people hold. And so yeah, it just I think it makes us seem a little less like we're just online personas, and we're actually people behind the PFPs and people behind the pages online and all that stuff. So I think it's good. I think it's good for community
hmm
building. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Every once in a while, we also have conversations in a Telegram group that are not trading related. So that's always fun. We used to have a lot more
Yes.
when, like when the bull market is there and all the OGs are back and everything. It's like, all right, then we have a lot of fun, talking about food and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get things started. I'm going to go ahead and add your charts to the stage bits. And then I'm going to go around and share the link in all the communities. So we have people
Cool.
joining in. There you
All
go.
right. I just got it reposted as well, and I tagged both of you. So there we go. Hopefully, we get more people jumping on here. I'm gonna send it out really quickly in some groups as well. Here, boom, boom, boom. There we go. Um, yeah. I mean, what should I guess we'll start with the short term stuff on BTC, and then maybe I'll end with the comments I was making in terms of like the larger cycle and
Yes.
timing of lows and all that. So I'll wrap with that. But yeah, look here in the short term, this so far, this so far has proven to have been just a range deviation above this weekly range, which is something I've been talking about um, all week. But really, even since last week, we were looking at some point for a potential pullback. We were looking for a pullback before this pump happened here, so we were kind of looking to see if maybe it was going to come and sweep some of these lows. Didn't get it. Instead, we got the pump Tuesday of this week. But after the pump, we had a very clear range at the beginning of this week, which was just the previous week high and the previous week low. So yeah, this is just textbook range deviation. You even had after the deviation, you broke back into the range and you had a retest yesterday. Look, this whole price action here was actually it was a little tricky. It was a little tricky. I think it structurally and technically, like the short was making a lot of sense, even if you're looking at a channel or you're looking at just like horizontal range. The short made sense, but we know that there was liquidity building above as well. And, there was a very real scenario that this could have popped up, given a small pullback, and then continued up towards these highs before it gave us like a big rejection and a move lower, right? So it was a little tricky. We were pretty patient about waiting for how to play this pullback here, but ultimately once it started coming back down, we're like, yeah, this was deviation, this was retest. Like this thing is going either to the middle of this range, or potentially it's going all the way to the bottom. And so, we took profits here at the middle. That was a pretty good area to take some profit here, just because it was the initial target, the 50%. But I'm still of the opinion, I'm not seeing anything, and I'll zoom out a little bit into some higher time frames. I'm not seeing anything that's telling me yet that this is getting ready to go like that. I'm just not. If we were to close the day above this level here, so roughly, if we close the day roughly above like 63.8, then I have to pivot. If we get a daily close above that, then I have to pivot, because more than likely we are going to go higher. That is the low of the previous day, and it's also the weekly open. So if we're able to reclaim that weekly open, reclaim previous day low, then I probably will be having to pivot and look for the potential that the move higher is coming after that. But right now, to me, I'm looking at these lows here. I'm looking at the bottom of the range. I'm looking at the fact that on the spot side, there's a lot of orders down here on the spot side, everywhere between about like 59.5 and about like 60.5 or so. There's a lot that's stacked here. So I'm looking to the downside still. If I zoom out to here, let's go to like a daily chart, and I'm going to put away some of this stuff that's here just so it cleans it up a little bit. Let's hide that. Let's get rid of this brush mark. If I'm looking at this this daily chart again, this is why it's going to be so important if we can flip this previous day low and also flip the weekly open. And it's currently that's a good looking wick. Currently that is a bullish looking wick there, but it's still early. We still have 6-7 hours left on the day. A lot can happen during that time, so I'm being patient here. And these candles so far, to me, like this last one grew in size. This one was looking pretty bearish until it started pulling back. We'll see how it ends up closing the day. To me, that you had a sweep of the previous 3-day high over on this side, but we've not, like these wicks to the downside on the 3-day chart. To me, they're very enticing, and in my opinion, I think there's a really decent chance that after this settles out, so whether it goes higher and then comes back down, whatever ends up happening here, I think there's a pretty good case still to be made that this liquidity below these lows here may ultimately get taken before you see a move higher. So especially because today's Friday, we're moving into the weekend, all that type of stuff. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Weekly, same thing. You're getting a lot of like very wicky price action here. It is in both directions, bigger wicks to the downside, so you do got to call that out. But overall, I think I'm sticking to the range play until the range stops doing range things. And for now, I still see BTC just being kind of range bound here. And a big part of the reason for this also is that stablecoin dominance chart. So last week or beginning of this week, it might have been over the weekend. I can't remember exactly when, but no, I guess it was this week. It was sometime after Tuesday. I drew this squiggle here on stablecoin dominance because same thing. You had a very clear range. So here's your bottom of your range, top of your range, right, based on the weekly levels. And essentially, what I was looking for is I think the way I phrased it was like, if we can get a big pop back inside of this range off of this deviation, if indeed it is a deviation, I want to pull back, because then I think this thing is going at least to the middle, if not across, right? Similar theory to what I said with BTC. And this one actually played out very, very cleanly. Like you had the deviation to the downside, you had the pop here on volume back into the range, you had the pullback, and then you had another move that moved away from the bottom of this range with some speed some urgency behind it, right? So this looks pretty good. In my opinion, this is just pulling back. I have no reason yet, based on this data, to not think that this is just another pullback to continue higher. And so if stablecoin dominance is heading higher, then in my opinion, Bitcoin dominance or Bitcoin's price will continue to head lower, right? Because they're inversely correlated. So yeah, as of now, nothing's changed. To me, the only thing that's changed is instead of being a one shot to the top, which we know it doesn't work that way, what you're actually getting is you're just getting a wave down that probably is going to resolve in another way, a wave up, in my opinion. So I'm maintaining a bearish price here on BTC. I'm not looking to cut shorts here just yet. In fact, I will be looking to add the shorts on any kind of moves to back to the top of the range. And I'm still looking for a move lower. I'd love a sweep of these lows and a move down into here, like in the mid 60s to high 59s. I'd love a move into that before continuing higher. So that's kind of I'm like short term. Well, I'd say like more like immediate term bearish, midterm bullish, because I think we can still push higher, and then higher time frame still bearish, because I think that even if this does go up here into the 70s, ultimately I still think it resolves with another move below 57K in the coming months. So and then to wrap up, right? So we were talking about on the space, and let me pull this up. Actually, let me do it this way. There we go. And let me put up the gentleman's suite levels really quickly. Oh, wait, moves that out of the way. Okay. I don't know why I have two of these on here. What is this one? That's from the top. I don't know what this one is. I'm gonna get rid of this one. I don't know what that is. So this is that historical 4-year cycle data that everyone talks about and either hates it or loves it. But there is a pattern between the way Bitcoin bottoms, how long it takes to find the next top, how long it takes to find the next bottom, the time between bottom to bottom. All of this has numbers that are repeating. So 1,064 days, cycle bottom to cycle top. On average, if you take it from here to the top, 1,064 days. Here to the top, 1,064 days. This one, I actually measured it out to this one. If you did the first top, it's shorter. But if you go to the second top, which was the higher top, 1,064 days. Bottom to top over here, 1,064. So it's crazy. It's crazy, right? And then if you measure bottom to bottom, there's also 1,428 days. So from low to low to low to what we should expect in October, a low is 1,428, and then 364. So basically a year from top to bottom, a year from top to bottom, a year from top to bottom. All of this aligns with a low sometime in October for Bitcoin. Doesn't mean it's a V-shaped bottom. Doesn't mean it can't spend more time there. Doesn't mean it can't later on sweep it in November or something like that. But it just means that in October we should be bottoming or putting some type of bottom there. What a lot of people, I'm starting to hear some really silly stuff. And what I'm hearing is people are saying that like, oh, I think we're going to be back at 126 by the end of the year. And I'm like, based on what? Based on what? Like what evidence on Bitcoin and all of Bitcoin's existence? Where is there any evidence that Bitcoin could rally back up to an all-time high by the end of the year? And there's not. There just is not. So here, where was I doing it? Was it on this one maybe? Let me see all-time history. Yeah, this one doesn't have anything. We could do it on this one. So here, let me put up the gentleman's suite just to simplify things. Give me one sec, guys. Put up the VRVP, put up market sessions. Go to the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. All right, so we're looking at Bitcoin. Here's we're going to do a very simple exercise here live for everyone to see. And this, we're going to take this all the way back to even 2011. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark the high of this high back here, and we're going to put a horizontal line across. So this was the high from 2011. June of 2011, you put in a high. Here's the low. Then we're going to take our measuring tool, and we're going to measure from the time that it bottomed, we're going to measure to the time that it got back to that high, right? Okay. So notice that's 469 days. Okay. From the time it bottoms to the time it goes back to the high that it put in, 469 days. We're going to do the same thing again over here. Here's the top. Okay. We're going to run that straight across. We're going to grab this off of the bottom. And look, you can pick it off this first bottom. You can pick it off the second bottom. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. Maybe you can pick it off the middle. I'm just going to grab the first one just for the sake of kind of consistency here. We'll grab the first one. And then we're going to take it up to when you finally got to that high again. Okay, so 784 days. If we grabbed the second one, how big of a difference does it make? 567. I don't think it makes a big difference. Let's grab the shorter one, actually, just so people are like, well, I think we're moving faster this time. Okay, we'll grab the shorter one. So 567 days. Notice, right? That's about 500 days on average from bottom to top, right? We're not even bottomed yet. Even if we were bottomed here, when is 500 days from now? It ain't December. It's just not. Okay. Let's grab this one here. Same thing. We'll go across. Okay. So this was the high of 2017. We'll pull that straight across. We'll grab market bottom back here up to here. 735 days from the time it bottomed to the time it went back up to the all-time high. 735 days. Okay. Let's do 2021. This is when it topped. We'll run that straight across. We'll grab this from the bottom. This was your bottom here on Bitcoin. We're going to pull that here to where, what was that? Here, boom. 476 days. Okay. Now, what we can do is we can get an average of all of these if you want to be super precise. You can just get a calculator out and you can quickly go, okay, 469 plus 567 plus 735 plus 476, right? Divided by 4, on average 561 days. Let's call it either let's just call it 600, just for the sake of a nice round number. 600 days. If we're going to bottom in October, okay? In October. If we're going to bottom in October, and let's grab our little measuring tool. Here's October. The price doesn't matter. We just need to grab somewhere in October for the low. So in October, price doesn't matter. We're just grabbing October and we're going to pull it forward. Let's go forward 550 days. 550 days would be April of 2028. Okay. Let's pull it up 600 days. 600 days would be June of 2028. Let's say it takes 700 days again for whatever reason. That's September of 2028. What if it only takes 400 days this time, guys? What if it only takes 400 days? That would be November of 2027. You notice how none of these are in 2026? You notice how they're all closer to 2028 and beyond? So when people are coming with some garbage about, I think we're going to be back at all-time highs in December, based on what? Based on what evidence? Based on what freaking evidence? Oh, it's because of the dollar, and the dollar's broken and it's getting worse every time. Okay, let's fix that. What if we measure Bitcoin against gold? Buy you at any given time, and how much gold can Bitcoin buy you at any given time? So let's let this load. And now we're looking at Bitcoin measured in gold. Okay, so now the dollar is no longer in the equation. The dollar has nothing to do with this. We're going to go a little faster this time, just for the sake of not taking the whole space here. What do you know? 462 days. Let's grab the nearer one. And we got up to it right here. 560 days. Maybe if you want to argue it's this one, 511 days. Let's do the next one. Let's grab that bottom there. And by the time you got back up to prior all-time high, 693, even if you wanted to grab the COVID low is almost 300 days, 287, right? So even if you wanted to make that argument, it's over a year, or about a year. But look, 700 something days. And if you wanted to grab the most recent lows here, same thing. By the time it got back to, that was not all-time highs. Here was all-time highs, 728 days. So against gold, you have similar numbers. 5 to 700 days. Nothing's. Oh well, gold. I think gold is corrupt, and gold doesn't represent blah. Whatever argument you want to say. Okay, we're going to measure it against GSG, which is basically a way to track GSCI commodities, right? So you're talking now we're measuring Bitcoin against agriculture, against energy, against precious metals, against industrial metals, basically Bitcoin against real world value, right? Let's eliminate gold, which is speculative. Let's eliminate dollars, which are broken. Let's just measure Bitcoin against real world value. How much, how much industrial metals can I buy? How much agriculture? How much energy? How real world value. Well, let's do that. Oh, guess what? It still took 455 days against that. It still took $518 against real world assets here, real world value. It still took 679 days in that one against all of this real world value, right? Tangible value. And it still took 875 days against this one. Actually, let's grab the closer one just to give ourselves a little bit of an advantage. Yeah, 620 days. You notice how it's not changing? You notice how none of these are happening within a year? You notice how none of these are saying that we should be expecting 126 anytime this year, or even the first half of next year, for that matter? Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff when people are calling for just some stupid timelines and unrealistic expectations about what this asset's going to do. So, anyways, guys, look, this is not a bull or bear argument. This is data. This is data that I could present in a court of law, and it would hold up as factual because it happened. It's not my speculation. It's not my opinion. This is price history. It happened. It is real. It is something we can measure and we can look to in the past. And a lot of people say, oh, well, what Bitcoin's done in the past doesn't have to repeat. You can't be always looking in the past. Okay, then how are you getting your upside targets? Where are people getting their upside targets of, dude, Bitcoin's the best performing asset ever? Okay, based on what? Price history. Oh, Bitcoin has a compounded annual growth rate of 15% or 30% or whatever the number is that these treasury companies are throwing away. What is that based on? What is Saylor basing his math on for raising his money? Price history. All of this data. What do you think the institutions are basing their prediction models and everything that they're basically using to decide how much upside this asset potentially has in the future, how much it can grow? Price history. So everyone wants to use price history to measure what it can do to the upside, but no one wants to measure what it can do to the downside using that same history. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but if you're going to look at price history, you have to take the up and the downside. You can't just pick and choose, right? You can't just pick and choose. The price history is the price history. It tells you what it can potentially go up, and it tells you also potentially what it's gonna correct. It tells you how long it takes top to top on average. It tells you how long it takes top to bottom on average. It tells you bottom to bottom on average. All of that is in the price history. You don't have to like it, but it doesn't mean that it's not factual, and it doesn't mean that it hasn't happened, and it doesn't matter that it's not the realest information we have about this asset. So, anyways, enough. I'm preaching here, but yeah, it's just I find it so funny that everyone wants to look at the price data when it talks about how high can it go, but no one wants to look at the price data for how low can it go or how long can it take to do something like this. So, anyways, that's my take. Take it or leave it.
Love it, Bits. Absolutely love it. How do you even top that? Like, mic drop. I don't know what to say. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. And this is what I love to see. People who look at the data and they can make an assessment of it, right? They can analyze it, they can teach you how to interpret that data. And unfortunately, that's not the case always, right? Whenever we talk about crypto communities, everybody just wants to talk about the upside. We are going to the moon. God forbid if you ever tell them, hey, we've already topped, we are now in for a big correction. God forbid if you tell them that the markets have topped. God forbid if you tell them that we are going to crash for a whole year. That is not acceptable. And so you have to be very realistic. So I definitely encourage you to go back and rewatch what Bits actually just talked about. This is very important stuff. And this is also to understand what we were talking about earlier on the spaces as well, and Bits covered it too, that it takes a long time to accumulate. You are not going to miss out on an entry. It takes a long time to build that entry. It takes months and months and months, right? Weeks. So you're not going to miss out. It's not going to just fly to 125K without you. It takes time and patience. So I see, Bits, you're bringing up another chart. You want to talk about that? I know
No,
we
no, yeah,
covered it a little bit.
no, you're talking about like the time, so I figured I'd just pull it up so people can see it. I mean, look, this is from the time it bottomed here, it went sideways for 147 days. And then if you didn't buy here, even if you thought you caught this generational entry, it still went sideways for another 63 days at roughly the low. And then all of that
Exactly.
combined, you're looking at, roughly about 260 days that you could have bought on average at like 20K BTC. Maybe you didn't catch it at 15, but you bought on average at about 20K and you had 260 days to do it. You almost had the majority of a year to buy it at that
Mhm.
price. Back here, same thing, right? It's like you had all of this time here. You had 126 days to basically buy it below 4K. So people are like, do you really need to buy it at 3180, 3160, or is like under 4K enough? You bought it under 4K. And then you even had another
Mhm.
shot when it dipped back here. So yeah, there's just, it's funny that people like, even here, look, this is 2015. You basically had, I'm going to grab it about here. You had 266 days that you could have bought for an average of $230 Bitcoin. Multiple opportunities to build a portfolio. 260 days you could have been building on average for about $230 BTC. There's no V shapes in any of this, by the way. Like, unless you're trying to catch the absolute bottom, which is dumb for an asset like this that you're going to hold. Does it matter that you bought it at 162 versus you bought it at 230? Does it matter when it went to 20K? Does it really matter? No, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter that much. So yeah, Bitcoin likes to spend a lot of time at the lows, and the
Yeah.
problem is most people in the lows are expecting so much lower, so they're not buying down there. They're actually waiting. They're
Yes.
waiting, and then it starts going higher, and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't buy." So
Hmm.
yeah,
Exactly. Which is why data is so important. So you can, right now is the time that you create a plan and
yeah,
figure out how you're going to position yourself, when you're going to position yourself. What is your DCA strategy? What is your exit strategy? Are you going to be dumb once again and hold it
yeah,
when the market tops in 2029?
yeah,
Or are you going to actually exit? Are you going to come back and argue with me that no, it's different this time, like you did this time?
yeah,
It's gonna be really different for you. I hope and I pray that it's different for you this time, that you
yeah,
do catch that bottom and then you do sell the top again, and then you catch the bottom once again and you continue to follow that historical data until that
yeah,
historical data proves that it doesn't work anymore. Right now it's working. It's working beautifully. Like every
yeah,
single day you wake up, it just adds to your conviction. It adds to your confidence level that markets are doing exactly what you anticipate that they're going to be doing. So
yeah,
how could you even say, it's going to be different this time? So, but yeah, this is incredible stuff. Remember, you are not going to miss out on the bottom. And the fun part is when Bix was talking about those big entries, and he said it's dumb if you're looking for that kind of entry. It is, because you know what you're going to be doing? You're most likely, if you're that impatient, you're probably leverage trading, right? And
yep,
you're just going to try and catch that generational entry with a very high leverage and you're going to get wrecked. That's not how it is. It doesn't work out like that. You want to position yourself beautifully with a confirmed entry after a good consolidation, after you've confirmed the bottom, and then you can play. You can do leverage or you could just buy and hold, right? Whatever your strategy may be. So just be cautious there as you try and catch these moves. Great takes, Bix. I do want to come back to you because I am very offended that you were showing us the range. You did not talk about the channels, all the usual stuff that you talk about. You did not talk about the long entry, the long setup, which was almost like a signature Bits of Wealth setup this morning.
yep.
So I'm offended, and we'll talk about
We'll talk about it. We got time. I can't hog the mic.
yes.
I can't hog the mic.
Yes, no, I get that. So we'll talk about that. I want to bring up Nat. I know that we have the queen of liquidity levels here. She's going to be looking at the charts. I am long, so give me good news, Nat, for now. So we'll take a look at it. Go ahead, take it away, Nat.
All right, thanks for having me, Lady Trader. Man, Bits, that was incredible. Thank you so much for showing that. I think it's in line with what we were talking about yesterday, right? When Gary came up, and it stemmed from Gary's space. But in terms of the liquidity, this is spot. Last time we showed perps. I know a lot of people they like viewing them both together. I think for me, for clarity purposes, the way I trade, the way I position myself, I like to keep them both separate. But you can definitely aggregate them both if you like. Market Monkey Terminal does this, and I believe Kiyotaka. But Kiyotaka has recently been revamped to something called Open Markets, so I do have to go back in there and reset my settings on that. So for right now, for today, we're going to be looking at Market Monkey Terminal. What's very interesting with Market Monkey Terminal right now on the spot side, and I think it aligns, Lady Trader, with what you're looking at. There is a big spot order at 65K. For spot, 18 million is big, right? Is an 18 million order sitting right at 65K, above 65. Obviously, this is when we kind of just layer in with the charts. Right above 65, I'm looking at 65, 65.5 to 65.8, close to 66K. Let's see if we get there. If we're able to get some more volume and some follow through here, I think there's a chance that we go to that 65K area and grab that spot back that's sitting there, right? But if I kind of just do like this and I zoom out, there should be another area that stands out, right? Another big yellow line that stands out in the 30-minute spots chart, which is this right here, the big yellow line. And this is something that we covered in the beginning, right? When you look at Market Monkey Terminal and you kind of dive in to see where the liquidity levels are, the yellow lines we see, those tends to be like big pockets areas of interest, right? And this is on the spot side, so it's not like the 90 million that we'll see on the perps when I switch over to that, right? There is also interest at 55K on Market Monkey Terminal. This is a spot position, right? So there we see 65 and 55. So I can see us go into 65K, get into 66, close to 66K. If we do reject there, I can see us doing one of these, which is in line with what we've been talking about for a long time, where we see the price do this move to the upside to catch the liquidity to the upside, and then gravitates to getting the majority of the liquidity down below. And this is very important because even for the perp side, there is a lot of liquidity building. So let's transition over to BTC perps. Let me just adjust. We see the same thing, the same level, the same yellow line on the perp side, just slightly higher. Let me just adjust this a little bit so we can get a clearer picture, right? So again, what's the line that stands out to you? The yellow line right here, right? So this is 283 million 65,125, so slightly above where spot is, but spot is king, right? So I can see that spot position playing a big role, right? However, let's do the same thing that we did with the spot chart. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's bring this all the way down so we can get a clearer picture. Right now there's a slight dot right here that's forming. Let's see where it's at. This is currently 289 million at 63,825, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see this. Maybe it goes down to grab it and then goes higher, because if there is because of that big spot position at 65K, I could see us heading a slightly higher before lower, which lines up with your long thesis. However, back to zooming out, it is building. We are building all of this down below. This is perps, right? See all of these lines, the price tends to gravitate towards them, right? If we adjust them, they stand out even more, right? Every time, whether it's we saw them gravitating over here, what the price do? Price got to it. We saw them here, the price got to it, right? So we saw them here, see how the price got to it. We saw this big line here, see how the price got to it. It's just over and over and over. So right now, I have no reason to believe that at some point the price won't gravitate to all of the liquidity that's building down below, and it's a lot of them, right? So this, again, it combines with what we've been saying for a very long time. In my opinion, the bottom isn't in. There is definitely some liquidity building up to the top. So let's take a look at that. 67K, 20 million. This is again the perps. 67.75, 24 million, 68K, 20 million. The downside, 18 million, 59.9. These are the double lines that we've been talking about for some time, right? There's no reason for me to believe that the price won't gravitate towards them because it has in the past, right? So 54.5, 43 million right below it, 54.3, 43 million as well, 43 million over there. So it's just a lot that has been layered upon layer upon layer. And this is one thing that I keep talking about on spaces, because of the amount of liquidity that's building down to the downside, that's building up to the downside. And I mentioned this on Landy's stream as well. There seems to be interest in lower prices, right? So this is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, how it continues to play out, because the interest all the way at the bottom, it's there, right? And this lines up with our thesis of the bottom not being in. There's just too much liquidity, just stacked, stacked below it, right? So it's going to be very interesting. Again, slightly higher before lower. And then I think we go ahead and grab some of that liquidity that's been building there for some time, right? This is the dot. It bits our dot 2020 227 million right at 57K. It's still there. A lot of these have just been stacking, and previously we have seen, again, how BTC reacts to the price whenever we see those double line, double layer liquidity building to the downside. The price tends to gravitate towards it in a bear market, right? In a bull market, here's what I expect to see more lines to the upside. You see how we're seeing lines to the downside? I expect them to see I expect to see them building more and more to the upside, right? That's how we know at some point the price will gravitate towards the top. There is definitely some slight buildup at 63.97, 28 million, and 67K, like how we spoke about. But overall, in my opinion, and based on what we've been seeing, there is more liquidity, and it is heavier to the downside. But because we have the buildup at 65K, I can see us going to 65K, possibly maybe even 66K, and then the scenario would remain for us to go back back down, right? Which is in line with what we're looking at, in line with the chart, and in line with what we usually do around this time of the year for BTC, right? If we do bottom in October, everything is just gravitating towards it and kind of just on time and on pace for most of it, right? I did want to bring up a chart on the equity side, Lady Trade, if that's okay, unless you have any questions in terms of the liquidity, regarding the liquidity.
No, I think this is great. Absolutely. Take it away.
All right, so let me just stop sharing this, and then I'll bring up my chart. So the company I want to focus on. So last time we've shared a few companies that have, gave us some nice gains. We had Bol, we had Keel, and a few others as well, including Quantum Plays, IONQ. So this one is one that we've been watching again, and one that we've been watching and I've mentioned on Spaces. This one is Figma. On the weekly chart, it is forming some kind of a double bottom, right? It is up against some big resistance here, right? So I'm looking at 2507, and then above that I'd like to see 2789, right? So why is Figma catching my attention? Look at the downtrend. Look at this. This was also one that we were talking about in terms of AI and companies that have been beaten down for a very, very long time. And Figma is one of them, right? These IPOs, time and time again, we've seen how they just bleed out. You have the initial pop, you have the initial movement to the upside, and then what happens? We just continue to bleed out. We just continue to bleed out, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Again, for me, one area of interest, since we are coming up on these levels on resistance, right? So we want to see closes above 24, 25, and 28, 27. uh, this company, it has been gaining some traction in popularity with builders, right? So you're seeing, if you're into vibe coding, into building any actual product, into building any any apps in particular, Figma seems to be popular, right? Seems to be the hot narrative around people that are into vibe coding, right? So it has caught my attention lately. We have positioned ourselves very well on this. Our entry was 19, so it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. If the W does, if the W is successful, obviously we do need to close above key levels, but Figma is definitely one that we want to keep on the watch list for sure, right? So now we have two things to keep an eye on. One, on BTC, we have the liquidity. We have the liquidity at 65K and that at 57K. I can see because there's a spot order at 65K. I can see us getting the 65K slightly higher before the next move down. And on the equity side, we have Figma that's forming some kind of that's forming a W, a double bottom. Now we just need to see some follow throughs. So that's one of the alpha I wanted to bring. This one I shared with my community. I shared in the spaces a few times, so I figured I'd share again on stream with you guys as well. But Lady Trigger, there's one more thing I wanted to tell you.
Go ahead.
All right. So in terms of memes, girl, I got in AMC with you. And we did
Whoa.
take, yeah, we took profit yesterday, and we did keep a few runners. We did keep a nice bag,
Uh-huh.
and
Incredible.
it's up nice. Yeah, it's up over 274% today. The market cap
Yes,
is now 207. I'm not sure if you're seeing that.
I am seeing it right now. I think it had a new all-time high, if I'm not mistaken, or briefly,
Yes,
or
it
no, quite.
did.
Yeah, almost.
For
Yeah. So
207K, almost, yeah.
yes, yes, no, absolutely, no. This is great. Ned, I do have a question before I get into um, the meme coins and Robinhood, and then all the questions that I have for Bits of Wealth around, why he changed, why he didn't talk about, why he changed his strategy a little bit, did not talk about the channels that he normally talks about, because I'm seeing them everywhere now. Um, before we get into that, I want to talk about Keel. How are you feeling about that? I know you gave an alpha on that one. It came down a little bit, so I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Any updates on that? Are you still bullish on it long term?
Yes, I am so bullish on it long term, right? Because Keel is definitely, keep in mind, it's a data center play, and they have multiple data centers that they are working on, right? So, and I believe it's five or six data centers. So in the long term, I think I could be wrong, right? But in my opinion, based on what they're working on, based on everything that they have going on in the back end, I really do believe that this could be a very big winner long term, right? If we look at the
Hmm.
weekly chart, and my thing froze. One second, Lady Trader. Let me see
Sure.
if I can just bring it up real quick so I can show you. This is one we're still in. Oh my
Okay.
god.
And I'm so happy you're in
Okay.
AMC. We got in really early on AMC. We are up 20x on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me pull up my Keel chart. Keel. Okay. Yeah, so Keel is one I am still in. If we look at the weekly chart, it can definitely come down some, right? I like to play with
Hmm.
EMAs, and I know you do too as well. So I'm looking
I
at
love it.
330.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, yes. So if we're able to confirm 330 and
Hmm.
bounce from there, I could see it
Hmm.
being a good play. I could see us revisiting the highs. But in
Hmm.
my opinion, I think Keel is definitely one that we want to hold long term. Also, they have earnings coming up
Okay.
Monday, August 17th. And here's the thing, here's the difference between the crypto and equities, right? With equities, you do have earnings that play a big factor, that play a big role in the
Hmm.
stock and the short-term price movement, right? On the crypto side, you don't have that. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. But on the stock side, that's definitely something to keep in mind. So we'll be focused on Keel upcoming earnings on the 17th, which is 4 weeks away. It's going to be very
Hmm.
interesting to see how it plays out. The estimated revenue is 32.2 million. EPS is 0.064, as you guys can see on the screen. But this is one that I'm okay in my community as well, is okay holding for the long term. I think lower prices equal buying opportunities, in my opinion, if it does match
Okay.
your risk tolerance.
It's absolutely. And I mean, with equities market, that's what you have to be aware of is that, there are sometimes those downtrends. But yeah, I think I love that. And also the area that you identified, that would be a pretty awesome retest of that zone here. So,
Yep.
and a lot of EMAs as well. So yeah, no, this is definitely great. I think I'm going to probably look for some opportunities there, probably for leaps and things like that. But yeah, this is definitely on my watch list. And thanks for putting Figma on my watch list as well. I'm so busy with all the stuff that's happening in the crypto world, especially with now Robinhood chain coming out and making sure that my community is positioned well into some of these early plays. I don't have time to look for alpha in the equities market. So I do rely on you for that, Ned. And I appreciate you always bringing in the alpha. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for your kind words, Lady Trade. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to bring up my charts and I'm going to sound a lot like Bitsofel today. I just want to warn you because I did get into a few plays that were kind of like the combined strategy. So I've been incorporating a lot of channels that Bits usually talks about. And so we'll basically dive into that a little bit here. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure this is the right one. It is. Okay. So first of all, let me, okay, here we go. This one there. Okay. So we had a really awesome opportunity to go short right here based on this channel. And we did catch this short opportunity, and it was pretty much like a Vic entry based on this channel. And so I did catch this move. I got out because remember what we usually talk about is that BTC, a lot of times it moves in like 3 days, especially when it's in a range. So if you're already in a trade and it's been 3 days, it's good to take some profits off of that. That's definitely something to look for. But I'm really looking to see if we can target some of these other areas, but we'll just have to see how today plays out, right? We'll have to see if I do see that there is a monthly EMA around 66K, which is your monthly 50 EMA. We came all the way to this top and very, very close to that EMA, but we didn't test that one. But I do think that there is a chance that we can get there. If not, I mean, the 65K is looking like an area that we can look for. I drew this one actually yesterday, and I did send it in the group that we could
Wow,
potentially, yeah.
that is cool.
Yeah. So because there's just so many channels, thanks to bits, it's a nightmare. It's like you see them everywhere. They can't leave you alone. And so yeah, it's not just EMA now, it's also these channels. But what I'm thinking is probably we're going to go up here and then see if we can either get a rejection or maybe continue to move up a little bit, right? Because it is the third day. It is also coming off of a major 13 EMA, which you remember every time we close above 13 EMA, price comes back, retests, and then continues the move up. So there is that opportunity as well. What is really amazing is that there is a lot of liquidity here too, because remember, a lot of people bought here. And so those stop losses are still pending. And I think at some point we're going to go there and take that liquidity. If this one plays out like this, I'd be super happy. This is where I'm looking to see if we can catch the bottom. Uh, and if not, of course, the bottom of the channel will always be an opportunity that I'll be looking for as well. But yeah, this is what I am looking for. I did position myself um, long this morning where we had this move, right? So we had right coming out of London session, we had a really solid W pattern. I was like, yeah, it looks fake, even though there was a stop hunt below it. So we'll see how this one works out. And then it, of course, we price crashed below. But this is what I was talking about. This is how you normally trade. You look for these kind of opportunities when price sweeps the low, hits
Yep.
these targets, right? Takes the liquidity out, and then very quickly goes back up. That's like your
Yep.
signature trade, and I
Yep.
actually took it. So,
Yeah,
and
we
there was,
talked
of
about
course,
it
the
this morning
volume.
in my slice group. A lot of the guys caught that
Okay,
one. So yeah, I didn't take it
perfect.
myself. I didn't take it myself. I'm sitting on the short, and
Uh-oh.
yeah, usually like Fridays and Mondays, I don't take a whole lot of stuff. But yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. No, this was a really beautiful entry. And then, of course, if you're using the gentleman suite indicator, this here was a beautiful, beautiful setup. We also had a really nice confirmation on hourly as well. It looked a little trappy to me. I was a little bit cautious about this one. I had an entry early. I took profit on it when it closed like this. I was like, I'll see how this one plays out. Because if it goes back down, I'm going to try and see if I can find a better entry, or I'll get in on a confirmed entry. So I did re-enter. So right now I'm keeping that one. I am out of the short position. It was a really lovely, beautiful entry up there. I am out with no regrets. It was a major trade, and we'll look to see if I can re-enter here if it does stop here. And so because I feel like there's a lot of momentum here, so I just want to see how it plays out before I enter my short positions once again. So we'll see how this one plays out. We'll be keeping an eye on it, and of course how the weekly closes, how the daily closes. And then again, like I said, there are some monthly levels up there, which I've been talking about in the group too, that we have to be very carefully watching. Like you can't get that close to monthly 50 and then reject and have a major move to the downside. That usually doesn't happen. So we'll see how that one plays out. So I'm watching that one. But yeah, these were two trades that we took, right? This one, and I did call this out before it happened, right? And it did take quite a few, almost like I'd say weeks to play out, right? We were watching this level for a long time. We were ready for this move, and then some of you did take it. So big congratulations to everybody who caught this move. So yeah, we'll just have to play out, see how this one plays out. It is I'm watching this level here and seeing if we can find some resistance here, or if we are gonna make the move to the upside. So this is gonna be a very interesting area. Yeah, but lots of liquidity at 65K, and then also lots of liquidity sitting here, right? All of these levels here, it's just not good. Lots of liquidity here. So when it comes down, it's gonna be really ugly, because it's going to take all of this liquidity and then boom, boom, boom. And then hopefully we can get a nice reversal here. We'll be watching this area. Again, it's not a given, right? We also have the monthly open level right here, which is where price can potentially come down as well. But we'll be watching to see if we can get a nice pattern, a nice confirmation within this box. And so that's what I am going to be looking for. That's what I have for BTC. Anything that you want to add to this bits before I kind of switch gears to Robinhood?
No, look, I don't think I'm even sharing right now anymore.
No, you're not.
Let me put it up really quickly. Hold on, give me a sec.
Yes.
Yeah, we can cover some of the channels really quickly. I know we kind of skipped over those, but let's see here. Trading view. There we go. And let me throw it up. There we go. So yeah, like the main channels I'm watching here on BTC, and I'll start with the like the daily channel. There's there's like maybe a bigger one too that you could put here on the weekly as well. But let me see if I've got that bigger fib channel. No, that's the local one. I need to start labeling these better. So this is the larger channel that you can kind of see on the higher time frames, right? So if you're connecting basically everything from Feb, the high from May, and then down to these recent lows, we're moving away off the bottom of the channel. Along these fib lines, you tend to see a lot of chop. If you just go back historically, these are very choppy zones. Same with these like top levels. You'll see that if you get up there, it'll be very, very choppy. So here, what I personally, and why I'm still kind of leaning towards maybe a little bit more correction, is that historically, like you'll kind of chop around these quite a bit before you continue to move higher. So I think that opportunity is there. If it decides to pop up, then roughly around the median of the channel is the next place that it's likely to cool off, and that does give you that move to about like 67 or so, right? So that's roughly where we're talking about. So that's right in the midpoint of the bigger channel. There's a smaller channel. We'll draw that one here in a sec. Here, I probably already have it in here somewhere. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to put away the bigger one, and we'll zoom into the smaller one. So the smaller channel, this more local one here. Oh, I think I moved my. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, I did move that line here. We'll move it out the way actually. So this is that smaller channel. If you grab the lows, you can either do what Lady Trader did, which is you put it on the wick, and a lot of times it'll give you like perfect wick entries. I've got a method for how I set these based on if they're trending up or down. but still, even if you put it here, I can't remember exactly where I had placed it. That does not look right. It should have been about there, placed around there. Either way, this is what I speak of as like a channel failure, where it looks like it's breaking outside of the channel and then it just comes back into the channel. So this is like a channel failure trade for me. And usually what these are is this just means it's coming back either to the midpoint of the channel or it's coming to the bottom of the channel, right? It's one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So here it was trying to break out. This was like your breakout candle. This was your failure. Your now acceptance back into the channel. This is likely to just come up, push back against it somewhere up here. And then I'd be looking for a move towards the middle of the channel, which is why I think it's still going to sweep all of these lows here. So there is this kind of mid time frame channel. We've got the big one that I showed you guys. We've got this one here. And then the more local channel is this one, which is just to this price action here. So if we zoom into this stuff, I'll go down to a 4 hour for this one. So on the 4 hour, this is, I hate when I do that. This is the more immediate channel that I'm watching here on local time frames. So this channel here, look, we're basically just made a move. We tapped the midpoint of the channel. You can even go to the 1 hour and you can see with a little more detail that was a perfect touch to the midpoint of this smaller channel inside the other two larger channels that we're in. And so again, this is roughly where I would expect price to either stall, maybe chop a little bit here at the midpoint, and then I'm still looking for a move. If this is going to do what the bigger channels are saying, I still think it's a move to the lower part of the range down here. And a lot of times too, what you'll find is these like ascending channels, they do tend to break to the downside, right? And then the descending channels, which is, so this is why I'm like short-term bearish. Short-term, I think we do a move lower, but if we zoom out to like the 4 hour or the daily, and you look at this bigger channel here, nope, that ain't the one. This one's a descending channel. These are usually bullish. They break to the upside, right? So at some point, I think the little channel breaks down. I think that gives us this move on the bigger channel, which sends you higher. And then on the even larger channel, that tells you roughly how much room you have to go. And the top of this channel, if you were to go vertical from here, it puts you somewhere in like the 75, 76. I've been talking about 72 kind of as an area I'd want to see, 72 to 74. That's right around this next fib level here, which is where, again, you're likely, if you do come up, you're likely to get a lot of chopping around here. And that's right at that like 72 to 74 area. So this is how my whole thesis is built on. This is why I'm still kind of just chilling. I have a long position from 58.3. I have some short exposure from up here at 64.8. I'm waiting for that. I'm not going to close any of that short exposure. I'm just going to build onto it. I'd like to see this come down. I'll probably close all short exposure at under 60.5 or around 60.5. And then I'll be adding to my long exposure from 58.3 because I do think we're still going to 72K before 55K.
Love it, Bits. No, this makes sense. And then we are also right now that you're talking about the mid channel, we are also a little bit above that 200 EMA. And so there is a chance that we could reverse like right around here. If it may not go up right all the way.
It's touching it like that was there you go, right? Like boom.
Yes, absolutely. So I am taking quite a bit of my position off actually right here on my long exposure. This was a pretty awesome trade.
You caught a great entry if you played this. This was signature. It was beautiful entry. It really was the play for the day. If you wanted to play something today, that was it. The long was the play for the day. That was the
play of the yes. Yeah. And then for the 3 day, this is the rule that I do follow. If I'm up big and 3 days have passed, I like to take some off, if not the full position, because there's always going to be a trade that I can take.
Yeah.
And so that's usually how my mindset works. And so you have to book profits. You have to book.
I think a lot of the EMAs were here also, Lady Trader, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, because I think I saw. I turned them on earlier because I was like, I wonder if Lady Trader's got any EMAs. So it actually blew through them on the 15, but I think on the 1 hour they were like right above. Or what time frame was I on? I'm trying to think of what time frame I was on.
It just on the 3 day. It just rejected on one of the EMAs there, and it looks like
it was
liquidity at 63.8.
There you go. Yep, there you go. Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
I knew I had seen some EMAs, and I was like, I bet you Lady Trader's watching that level.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, there's also 60 EMA, which I do watch quite a bit. This is just a simple moving average. The way I got introduced to that was like through Bluefin. Like they have this on their chart by default,
Yes.
and I started paying attention to that. And I'm like, I have never used the CMA or this moving average before. It is a simple moving average, and I'm not a fan of simple moving averages. But somehow that 60 SMA, man, it tries when it breaks through, it goes back and retests. That's your entry. So and then also I view them as fair value gaps too. Like if the price
Yes.
crashes through it, does not retest, I view it as a fair value gap for the EMA,
Yep.
regardless of what the candles are telling me, right? And so I was hoping that we go back up there and we retest that 60 SMA, and we did, and we rejected off of that as well. So lots of EMAs at play here. Of course, the liquidity level at 62.8 or 63.8 that
Yep.
Nat was talking about, that's a major liquidity level as well. And then 65K, that big spot order. I mean, that's a pretty big order. So it will be very interesting how the daily closes today. I mean, right now, hourly chart looks pretty awesome, but we are at that key level. And this is what the price does, right? It will have a pump and then create new lows. It will have a pump and then create new lows. And so that is going to continue for now. But yeah, well, this was really awesome, Bix. I love that the channels, and I have not traditionally, like I used to make fun of people who use channels. It's like, come on, these things don't work. But also remember, a lot of people don't draw it the way that you do, Bits. It's
Yeah.
very different the way that you draw, and how people draw it. It's like they keep it forever, and they just think it's gonna continue
Yeah, no,
forever,
you have
basically.
to you got to update these things like after you get
Exactly.
new data, you got to like, up now I got to adjust it to this brand new low that just got set. Yeah, they're
Yes.
living, breathing things. They're not static. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So there's that. But yeah, I've started to see that, and trust me, once you start to see these, I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy how like the Vic entries, because I don't usually catch
Yeah,
those Vic entries. I'm more
you were telling me. Yeah, you were telling me that it's allowed you to get a lot more precise with like the wick entries. Yeah.
yes, exactly, because Vic entries are the ones that I am personally scared of. To be honest,
Yeah.
I like to get confirmed entries. Know where
Yeah.
how the pattern is, right? Those are things, and that strategy works out too. But hey, even better, because now your risk to reward ratio is so much better than
Yeah.
a confirmed entry. So there is definitely that something to consider as well.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and bring up my charts once again, and we'll talk about the meme coin plays that we got into. My goodness, there was some really, really phenomenal moves that we caught on some of these runners. So let's see if I am sharing my screen right here. Yep. All right. So we'll go back to that. Also, by the way, one thing I want to call out, hourly, this candle, beautiful confirmation on hourly. On if you're using that gentleman suite indicator, which I can't. I mean, this is you need that. Like, if you're a good
Yeah.
trader, or if you want to be a good trader, you need this one.
It like
If you're already
slaps
a
you in
good
the
trader,
face. It's like boom.
yes,
Like you
yes,
can't
it
ignore
slaps you
this.
in the
It's
face. You cannot ignore it. This is the thing too. Like my issue is that when I see volume, like I'm not always paying attention to the volume unless I have this on my chart. It's like, hey, you know what? If you are short, get the heck out. There's gonna be some reversal coming, and position yourself accordingly. And then you have multiple time frames, right? You can drill it down to M15 even, right? Whenever I see on M15, the way I play it, like if I see a small candle like this, I know that price is going to probably break through and then recover, and that is another entry. So I play that as a strategy. And then also on 4-hour chart, look at this one. It also had a stop hunt below this level, right, which gave me even more
Beautiful
confidence that,
hunt. Beautiful,
yep,
beautiful sweep. Yeah.
like how could you not, like
Yeah.
how could you not, how could
Yeah.
you not go long there, right? So
And
that's
it
basically
also filled that big green one on the side over here by the 14th. So a couple days ago. So
yes,
you
yes,
filled that entire thing as well. If you're so it kind of highlights them the same as like the fair value gaps, right? So
yeah,
you now came
exactly.
down to the bottom of that candle, it's fully filled, and then you had a high volume sweep. It's like boom, it looks beautiful.
Yes, yes. But again, we are at a major level here, so this could
Yeah.
roll over. Like this is a very classic pattern here that we've seen, price to
Yep.
something like this. So these kind of patterns are going to get stuck to your brain over and over again. So be careful if you're already long. You should be taking some profits here.
Yes.
But yeah, that's basically what it is. I'm going to move on to our Robinhood plays next. So first of all, I want to talk about AMC. And so AMC has just created a new all-time high, another new all-time
Is it
high.
going
Big
again right
congratulations.
now?
It is, yes.
Oh wow, that's
Um,
amazing.
yes, their dev, like, or whoever it was, like, there was a lot of farming happening, and I'm like, this is so insane. Like, why would you give anyone an entry below 1 million on AMC? Like, if I was the
Mm,
dev, I would probably keep it at $1 million market cap, no matter what it took, um, and keep it there, and then not let anybody in below $1 million market cap, because this is a play that is important for Robinhood. What you have to really do is you have to think about it differently. This is not your typical dog and cat play, right? Robinhood is all about meme stock. That's what it's about. So you have to think like what a Robinhood trader would be thinking about. So let's say that I sign up a normie who is an equities trader. He's not a normie, right? He's a trader, but I sign them up, right? And I say, okay, this is your new Robinhood wallet. What do you think they're going to buy? Are they
yeah,
going to be looking for dogs and cats? No. They're
nah,
probably
probably
going to
not.
say, this is so insane, right? They're
Yeah,
going to be looking for GME. They're going to be looking for AMC. They're going to be looking for anything that's tied to Roaring Kitty and meme stocks. So that's what they're going to be positioning themselves into. And that was the play. This is how I started my strategy, right? And so we positioned ourselves in AMC at around 11K. That's when I sent the alpha. So 11K market cap right here. I mean, this was like our entry somewhere around here. Big
I
moves
can't
after
believe you
that because
didn't
it's
personally call me, like wake me up in the middle of the
ah,
night or something, and tell me, "Hey, we're going all in on this thing at 11K, lady
oh, I
trader."
said an alpha in the group.
I'm just kidding. I got in a little later than
But
you guys, but I'm still
uh-huh.
I'm still up. This thing is still like way
Yeah,
up from where I got
yes.
in. So.
And while we talk about
Mm,
AMC, let me bring up something. So this is why this is not your typical cat and dog play, right? What do these stupid dog devs do? They'll pump their chart up to a couple of $1 million. They're gonna rug it completely, and they'll have the audacity to tell you, oh, we will do the supply acquisition, and then we will at some point when the markets get better, we'll pump it up. This is not the place for that. Okay.
mm,
This is not the place for that. When you talk about AMC, GME, that's not how you do it, and this is not your dog play. So you could rug it. I'd be very happy if you could rug it back down to 20K, because that would be an opportunity for me. I would love that. Please do it, right? But I know you probably won't.
I'm gonna rug it right
But
now. I'm gonna rug it right now. Hold on.
yeah, I mean, just rug it to take it down to 20K. I would love that entry, right? And so that's basically how it is. But let me show you what happens to AMC usually. So I'm going to bring up, which one was it? An AMC on Solana. Help me find it. Is it this one? I don't know if it's this one. It may be this one. So AMC. Look at what happened to AMC. So I know that GME, AMC, whenever the season comes for that, things blow up really quickly, right? There is no time for your ruggy dev to do the supply acquisition and pump the chart. That's not how AMC works. By the way, look at it. They don't even have like their decks updated or anything, right? But I was buying it like right here. I accumulated quite a bit of supply here and at the very low. And I was like, this is dumb. Whoever has this token, like, is gonna pump whenever the time comes, right? It takes a long time, sometimes months. But look at what it did. It like 2 days and it went all the way up to about 30 mil market cap. So whenever that meme stock season begins, you will be surprised what it can do, right? So this is something that I had to bring up so you know exactly how I position myself. Again, is that a strategy that's always going to work? Maybe, maybe not. I cannot guarantee it. I'm just sharing with you what I personally do, right? For these kind of places. Accumulation zone at the lows, hold it. Might be a year that you have to hold until the meme stock plays, the season begins, right? Whenever it may begin. It may not begin, but it does have these kind of moves. And so it's just basically how you position yourself into this. And they'll of course have, some of the smaller moves as well that you could trade if you want, if you're interested in. But I think Robinhood chain is all about AMC, GME meme stock, in my opinion. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I'll be proven wrong. We'll see. But this is how I play. GME was the same way. GME did the same thing. GME on Ethereum and also on Solana. They had big, big, big moves as well. So let's look at GME on Sol. look at what it did. So it went to 200 mil market cap, right? So these things happen quickly on GME, AMC. This is not your dog play, right? Don't think of it like your typical dog. It's not that. So meme stocks are different. People who trade meme stock are different. They are built differently. They're gonna have different strategies, right? And this one did the same thing here. So these kind of big moves happen every once in a while. I will definitely be positioning myself even into some of these, right, on Solana and Ethereum. I do want price to come down a little bit more, so I'll be buying that and start accumulating some supply there. But that's the play. That's how I play it, right? So what we did, we got into this AMC, right, super early. When I looked at it, I'm like, this is insane. I mean, at such a low market cap. Also, the key is the first AMC, right? So there's going to be a lot of other AMCs. There's going to be people trying to copycat it and all of that. But knowing what I know about Robinhood community, knowing what I know about the Reddit community who are into meme stocks and all of that, some of the people that I've interacted with as well, they are pretty adamant on the OG plays. So they're going to be looking for these kind of OG plays that are already there. They're not going to go for a brand new thing just because it's shiny looking and it's pumping, right? They're going to be cautious there. So be mindful of that. I'm being mindful of that as well. But yeah, this was a pretty incredible opportunity if you position yourself correctly. GME was the same way. We did catch it a little bit late. I think it was like 700K market cap when we got into GME, but GME also gave us at least 10x off of that previously, and right now I think it's at a pretty good price point as well. And if it does come back down, I would love to accumulate some more. Now, what's next, right? So you want to start looking at some of the other ones as well. We were in this one as well. This was a token that we got into super early, I think around 177K. This was the very first meme deployed on Robinhood chain. Their dev is actually pretty phenomenal. They built some really cool stuff on chain. So this is one that I'm bullish on. And I'll be buying more. Hopefully it comes back down quite a bit so I can accumulate some more. So I'm going to be looking at that. We got into Kitsu as well. We caught this move as well. I think this was also around 100K market cap. So we did catch some really, really awesome runners on Robinhood. I had a lot of fun coming from the mindset that memes are bad. You don't go there, to where I am in the last year or so, because I'm not traditionally a meme coin trader. So it did take a lot of keeping my mind open, seeing how the markets are, learning those things, right? And so learning how to alpha hunt memes, it's a different thing. Like I can do alpha hunting when it comes to good tokens and finding good tech, but when it comes to finding narratives, that was a learning experience for me. So I would say there's just so much about it that that we need to look into whenever you are looking for a good narrative. So what's next after AMC and GME? Let's say they start to run. You probably want to start looking into some of the other tickers, like Bed Bath and Beyond. This is one that usually typically would run with whenever the meme stocks start to run. So you probably want to start looking into some of that as well. I do have some of this one. I don't know if it's the exact same ticker. Also Nokia and BlackBerry. Those also run around the same time that you have big runs on AMC and GME. So it's something that I've already done very successfully on Solana, and I hope that I could replicate that on Robinhood chain as well. So as you can see, it's already going up a little bit here. So this is a nice zone for me to accumulate these in case they run, right? Again, you have to be very cautious with memes. Maybe they'll go to zero, but it's already at such a low market cap, like 10K. What's gonna be my downside, right? Am I okay with holding this long term? Maybe it will run, maybe it won't, right? There's that risk involved. I'm just not treating Robinhood chain as your typical dog and cat play. Now, talking about cat and dogs, we did catch Kitsu, which was a dog, and we caught Cash Cat as well. We caught it super early, around $5 million market cap, right? I was mad at myself that I missed that one still, but 5 mil, hey, it's fine, right? We still caught the move to the upside, and it was pretty awesome. And so now it's come down. So I'm looking at definitely this 40, really 30 to 40K or 30 to 45K is a level that it may have already tapped that level here. and then continue to move to the upside, maybe give us another leg. So depending on how BTC plays out, of course, that market is also going to dictate some of this. But be cautious with these, right? Be very, very cautious with the new plays that are coming out. A lot of them are rugs, right? 99% of them are rugs. Some of the OG plays I'm really liking. Also, this one, I think it's at a good price point right now as well. I have quite a bit of this one. Let me see if is this one or this one is on Solana. Never mind. Yeah, this was the first Roaring Kitty on Robinhood, which I think is quite undervalued, to be honest. So I'll be looking to. I did buy some more on this crash, and I'll be looking to buy some more. And this also, I think we got in super early. And then some of the other ones that I am interested in, like retail, is one. Whenever that happens, the OG retail, right? So 27 days, it's down quite a bit right now. May or may not do anything, right? Might not run, but I like the tickers and I'm okay with holding them. Putting a little bit in, it's risky, right? I mean, I could lose it, whatever I'm putting in, so I'm not going too big on these. But these are some of the good tickers that I am interested in on Robinhood. Normie is another one. Let's see, which one was it? This is the one we are in already. And so this is another one. So we'll see if it can give us another run to the upside like this, right? Again, speculative, highly speculative, but at least I have a strategy that I can then go back and say, hey, did it work out? Did it not work out? If it didn't work out, what could I do to improve it? So it's a learning experience for everybody. I'm not an expert on memes. Uh, quite the opposite, actually. I'm very happy with all of the moves that I caught with my knowledge of good plays and how we can kind of do certain things and research and all of that. So I'm really happy with what we've got into. It was, I think, over 370x cumulative returns for the group, for the Telegram community. And if you want to be a part of that community, please send me a DM. We'll get you added. It is free to join, and it's a good alpha community. We also had someone who sent an alpha on this RWA play super early for us, and we caught the move. I think it was 12 or 16K, something like that. So this one also did pretty incredible. I think it may run even higher. So keeping an eye on this one. But yeah, I mean, there were some really awesome plays. Community is pretty phenomenal. We do have some really solid alpha hunters, people who pay attention to certain things, and then they have some alpha that way. But yeah, great week so far on Robinhood. Really, really happy with the performance on some of these coins, and we'll see what these plays can do, like AMC, GME, all of the meme stock plays, right? We'll be looking for those OG tickers. We'll be looking to position myself and buy the dips on these. That's really the plan. I have enough of AMC, but I could never have enough of it. I love this ticker. I would love for it to come back down more so I can buy some more. We'll see. I'm really happy that they are giving me this opportunity to buy under 1 mil. They're not at 1 mil already. This is a good ticker, in my opinion. So we'll see how it plays out. Time will tell. Again, be cautious because we are overall bearish on the markets, right? So BTC is gonna crash down probably over the next couple of months. So we need to watch out for that. Of course, we are short-term bullish that we are going to see 70s probably before 50s. Bits of Wealth has previously said, I remember very clearly, he used to say 80s before 50s. And he was right about that. We did see 80s before we saw 50s, right? And so now he's saying 70s before 40s, right, Bits? Is that the saying now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you get 72 before you get 55.
Yeah, see, so we are going to keep that in mind. So we will have some upside, and hopefully some of these memes continue to work out for us and play for us. And then we'll just have to pivot as the time comes. So we'll be there. But yeah, I'm really happy with Robinhood Chain so far. The returns that it has generated for the community, super excited for that. But yeah, that's really all I had for today. I want to go around the room, get some final thoughts and comments from everybody. Nat, any final thoughts or comments from you?
Yeah, no, this has been a great stream as usual. Bits, I believe there's a 20 weekly moving average, slightly about like 70, 71. So I could
Yeah.
see us getting there. So I wouldn't rule that out completely. On the time when in terms of the liquidity, again, two areas 63.8 and 65K on spot side, on perp 65.125. To the bottom on spot 55K and 50K on Kiyotaka. On the perp side, 57 is a big area on the perp side. So those are the key areas where the biggest liquidity pockets are. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. On the equity side, Keel is one that we spoke about, and also Figma is one that we got in around 19. I did want to clarify a point on Keel, Lady Trader. We did have
Hmm.
a bunch of leaps, but we did take profit and we left some runners. For someone that's looking to enter, because of the volatility that we're seeing in the market, leaps or commons? I just wanted to clarify that. And commons are common shares where you just buy the stock directly. And
Hmm.
that $3.30 is one area I'll be looking at if we do slip below $4 again. But overall, great stream, guys. Absolutely love it. And you are killing it on the meme coins, Lady Trader. I mean, I'm looking at AMC. I did share that out. We spoke about it on another show I'm in on. It's called
Hmm.
ATC, All Things Crypto, and we tagged you in the comment section. Not sure if you saw it, but we gave you the credit for AMC.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. No, AMC was a great play for everybody. So I'm excited. We'll see what it does long term. I mean, these are risky plays, right? I can't emphasize
Yeah.
enough on that. So be cautious there. Meme coins can rug anytime. There's that, and I've seen AMC and GME coming back from rugs as well. So we'll it's a very crazy ticker. So yeah, but I'm happy that I was positioned super early. So my downside is like not there much. If it goes back down to my entry, hey, I welcome that. I'd just buy a little bit more. Um, but yeah, super excited for everything. Bits, any final thoughts or comments from you?
No, look, great stream. I think it's important to just remember, like, a lot of the stuff that we talk about is it has to do with time frames and expectations around those time frames. So it's really easy to say, oh, but you guys were bullish last stream. Yeah, we were talking about a 5-minute setup, right? And it's like, now you're
Hmm.
bearish. Yeah, we're talking about a weekly setup. Like, of course we're
Yes.
bearish, right? So time frames are important, expectations around that, understanding that. I like how Lady Trader says it, like there's channels everywhere. You can have a big weekly channel, and inside that weekly channel there's a daily channel, and inside the daily channel there's a 4-hour channel, and inside the 4-hour channel there's a 1 hour. Like, you can have that all day long, and one can be going up, one can be going down, the other one's going up. So it can get confusing, but just understand the market doesn't go up in a straight line, it doesn't go down in a straight line. It ebbs and
Yes.
flows. It gives and takes. You got to go up to go down and down to go up. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of that. I think just you got to have your convictions. You got to have a thesis that you're operating on, and you got to be okay with being wrong about it. I right now, it's for me, it's been 72. Before 55. Maybe I'm wrong about that. That's okay. It's I don't try and like internalize or identify with those things. It's an idea based on some information. If the information
Hmm.
changes, I change the idea. It's not a big deal, right? So
Hmm.
but
Yep.
yeah, having fun with the Robinhood stuff. Thanks to Lady Trader again for pulling me back into memes. It'd been a while. I mean, I think you and I did a lot of stuff on Solana. We
Hmm.
even did a little bit of like XRP memes, I think, together, or at least I was doing
Yes.
XRP memes when I brought some to the
Yes.
community. So it's like it's not a new thing to us. I don't think, I'm with you. I don't really identify as like I'm not a meme coin expert. I don't even think I'm that good at it, if we're being real. But occasionally, like, I have good friends like you that'll bring something to my attention, and I'm like, all right, I'm willing to play it. It's coming from someone that I trust, I know, I like. So if like and trust someone, you've got a little bit of rapport. So I'm willing to play that stuff. And there is some TA that applies. I will tell you.
Oh yeah.
Hoppy was one of those plays that a friend brought it to me early, and we were able to buy it cheap, and we were able to use TA for when to sell and then what kind of levels it would likely pull back to. So a lot of people say you can't use TA on memes. Well, you can if you just don't get too
You
fancy
can.
with it. You just don't get too overly fancy with it. Keep it simple. Focus on structure and, like, generic fibs that tend to work, and there's some strategies you can definitely use there. But memes are fun. Just it is risky, but they are fun. But hey, I mean, I can find I can find 1,000 other things to throw money away at that have less potential upside. So
Yeah. No, absolutely. Memes you have to definitely be very, very cautious about.
yeah,
And but yeah, this was a great stream, Bits, and your knowledge as well, like the stuff that you shared with around the historical data and everything. If anyone is joining us just now, please go back and rewatch. There's just so much alpha that was shared early on this show. It's incredible. Looking at the charts, looking at when you can position yourself, what does the data says. Um, Lots of things that were discussed at the beginning of the show. So I definitely encourage you to go back and rewatch. There's some good stuff that you probably don't want to miss. But yeah, let's see what BTC does this week. How it closes. 4 hour will be closing here very shortly as well. So I'm watching that one as well. Taking profit pretty aggressively, as I mentioned already, on my long position, because I do believe that there could be some potential downside very soon, especially if the 4 hour closes in 1 hour and it's red. Then yeah, we are probably headed back down in a very ugly way. So definitely be cautious there if you have already long positions that are in profit. But yeah, that's all for today. We will be back again with another FOMO Friday. Shoot me a DM if you want to join my Telegram community. It's pretty incredible. It is free to join. There's no paid group or anything like that. Just send me a DM. We'll get you added. Yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Bits and Nat, for co-hosting it with me. And
yeah. Thanks
have
for the
a
invite.
phenomenal weekend, everyone. Thank you.